and 959 on all three Apple devices. Or 2 apples and a Garmin. All right, now we have 10. Good morning, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting of the Public Improvements and Infrastructure Committee to order. Notice the meeting was properly posted on Friday, June 19th. All 3 districts are represented and present in the meeting room, so we will dispense with item number 1. Item number 2 is discussion and possible action to approve the minutes of Monday, June 8th.
Were there any changes? Did you see any changes? I didn't see any changes. So motion to approve.
Second.
Go ahead. Somebody hit second. I got it, I think, Charles.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 3 is discussion, view, and possible action regarding City of Spencer's request to lease, rent, purchase the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Substation located at 8601 Main Street in Spencer. Stace?
Yes, I introduced this in the policy and governance last week, and you wanted to move it to this agenda. I believe I gave you the email that they had sent me.
It's attached.
Hopefully you still have it. I've got another one if you want to accept it for this meeting.
It's attached, Stacy.
Okay.
Is it the same verbiage, or is it a newer?
Should be the same verbiage.
Okay.
I don't have any other verbiage.
Yeah, we got that attached. So, Stacy, on this, let me go back to that email soon. I think probably, this one is from the deputy chief or the chief of police. In some conversations I've had with David Barnes, their fire department has talked to David about this facility, and then I think their city manager has also made a couple of calls. So what I think what I'd like to do is ask you to reach out to their city manager and get a little more information about what it is they're exactly wanting to do, whether it's just the police department, police and fire, both, and find out a little bit more about what their intended use would be for this facility, whether they're interested in purchasing or leasing, renting, et cetera. Get a little more information for us, and at our next meeting have you present that so that we can look to maybe move forward on this item.
Okay?
You guys have anything else?
Joe, is your understanding that the sheriff's planning on vacating this space?
My understanding is it's empty now.
It is now? Okay.
It's good to know that it can be used for a police station, though. I will say that.
Well, it's not quite the size of Kraus, so a smaller police department, I think probably it would be a suitable location.
It does have a second story, correct?
9,600 square feet.
It's,
Does it have a basement?
I don't
believe it
believe
does.
it has a basement nor a second story.
It's got a second story.
It does have
It's got
second?
that- Yeah.
Okay.
And it's got the bank vault,
Excuse me.
et cetera,
Okay.
so.
Okay, so that would be my motion, just to have Stacy to reach out to the city manager so that we can get one coordinated person to work with on this issue.
This is kind of probably a stupid question, but Stacy, is this a county building or is this PBA building? Just to make sure.
My understanding is county.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure it was never moved at some point. That's all.
I thought I'm
Do you know, Joe?
To my recollection, it's a county
It's
building
county.
as well, yeah.
I will second the motion.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, anything else on this item? All right, item 4, discussion, review, and possible action regarding Verizon's request to place a node pole on county property. Hi, Chris. Good morning.
Stacy, is this 5G?
I don't know. I hope not.
Thank you, sir. get a motion to receive these documents, please?
So moved.
I made it. About a second, I'm sorry.
I'll do that too.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor to receive?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Yes, if you return to page 5, you'll see an aerial view of our complex, the courthouse, annex building, and parking garage. And as you can see, they want to put 4 devices to encapsulate the whole area. If you go to page 6, you'll see the first device that they're recommending is a pole, stands about 30 feet tall. They want to put that one in the southwest area of the courthouse. And on the opposite side of the courthouse, the northeast, kind of in the corner of the parking garage, right behind where the dumpsters live, they want to put another pole a little bit taller. It's about 38 feet tall. On page 8, you will see a wall mount device. The way they describe it, about the size of a book bag or a backpack. They want to put 2 of them on opposite ends of the parking garage. This one is shown on the Hudson side of the parking garage. I guess that would be the southwest side of the parking garage, right in between about the 4th and 5th floor. And they want to duplicate that over on the east side of the parking garage on the Robert S. Kerr side. Any questions?
Chris, I may stumble upon the answer myself, but I'll just ask. Given that they have the wall mount units that they're proposing for our parking garage, are those just not feasible to be placed on the courthouse itself as opposed to the poles?
It probably is feasible. That this is their recommendation, so we could have that discussion with them.
Are you concerned with the southwest corner? Is that the one that you're speaking of which?
The bench and the,
Yeah, that's southwest.
yeah,
I think the line of sight issue with the trees, does that cause a problem? Do you know, with the
That
trees?
could. That very well
Cause
could.
the interference?
Yes.
We still don't know compensation rates or anything at this point, do we?
No, I have not had that discussion with them.
What are the compensation rates that we currently get for the nodes that are on top of the court, or the parking garage?
I don't have that information.
Okay.
What's on top parking garage miles?
AT&T, Keith? So we have AT&T wireless over there.
I bet Keith knows.
Do what? You know how much they pay, by any chance? Okay. And then probably similarly with the east alley of the courthouse, you may actually be able to hang something on the ICB building, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, they were looking at that, being that we're gonna
Redo it.
redo ICB, it would be a timing issue. They would have to wait for that.
well, I'd just be curious to get some follow-up just with regard to the trees being an issue, if they wanted to do something similar to what they're proposing for the parking garage on the courthouse. Otherwise, I don't see an issue moving forward. Once we get the proposed rates, and then we can work on getting a contract back with them. But that would be the one question that I would have. Just-
Okay, I'll get all that information.
I mean, in fact, on the southwest corner, even if they did a node pole, I don't know that the benches would be in line over there, because you'd be off behind the bollards and into Charles's new landscaping project and everything, so.
Yeah, I don't see where those benches
I
are
don't-
applicable
I
in
don't
our
think those,
situation.
yeah,
Yes.
I really don't, but that's just me. So, Joe, if you would, or Chris, if you could just answer the 38-foot question about the southwest corner node pole, if they can place that on the side of the courthouse and achieve the same thing as the pole. And probably similarly with the one in the alleyway.
Both of them. Yeah,
If they
that's
could-
what I'd be
yeah.
interested in, if we could mount both of those.
Because if it's anything like the one that they have here, you can tell me, I think that's city center on page 8. If that's all we're talking about, I think that would blend in and probably be fine attached to the courthouse. But I don't know what kind of issues that would present as far as wiring, et cetera, in the courthouse, I would assume, so, or on the exterior. But if you could just answer those questions, I think if they could get us a response, we're probably ready to move to the next phase, which would be contractual and negotiation of rates, so at this point, it would probably just be a motion to proceed and as, and
Receive the
instruct
update.
staff, yeah,
Yep.
and receive the update.
Okay. All right. I'll second. All in favor of receiving the update?
Aye.
Aye.
So-
Chris, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
5, discussion, review, and possible action regarding operational status of elevators in the courthouse and the annex. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning. We have one elevator, the C elevator.
Just knock on the wood, please, because we're operating.
You know, if you say it out loud, it will change. We're down one elevator in the courthouse, the C elevator, waiting on pieces and parts. We have one elevator down. It's a northwest elevator in the annex. We're waiting for drives there. Kone has returned the contract for that replacement. That's a $34,000 sum, and I believe the DA has that contract in their possession now,
For the courthouse or for the annex?
the annex.
Annex, okay. And what's the ETA for the parts to arrive for the courthouse one?
I haven't asked that question. They get here when they get here. Usually it's several weeks. It's been my experience. Pieces and parts have to be manufactured.
And then we're 2 weeks down on that, right? So far? Okay.
Motion to receive update.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 6, discussion, review, and possible action to discuss landscaping improvements around the courthouse and the annex. Charles?
It's my understanding that any future purchases or expenditures want to come before this board to be approved. So I'm just submitting a copy of an email, a response I received back from Julia at OSU County Extension. The one thing that wasn't completed before with the landscaping project were these urns that we were waiting on with an expected arrival date of about the 4th of July. They came in last week, so they've been installed. So they're ready for flowers. I asked her what if OSU was interested in doing them, they were interested in providing the labor, so I asked her what her budget was, and she wanted $100 to buy the materials from Precure. So I'm just bringing that for the board.
Motion to receive document.
Second. All in favor of receiving the document?
Aye.
Aye. So we just ask for your approval on that to spend $100 with Precure to get the materials, the plant materials in those 4 urns.
Where are you wanting the money to come from? You want it to come out of our
It's,
capital account?
well, I
Or you
mean,
guys
no,
replace-
just the, I guess what was already approved, we still have about $5,000 in that
Okay,
that we haven't spent
great.
yet. Yeah. I mean, $35,000, well, 30, yeah, anyway, over the whole budget for the entire project. And I just my understanding is every purchase wanted to be brought before this board, so that's why I'm bringing this. Before, I was just going and spending the money because I felt like I was already directed to do it.
Motion to approve expenditure of $100 on flowers.
I'll second that motion.
Let's specify where it's coming from, I think.
That's why
I know, that's what you were.
I don't know what the account is. Do you know what the account is that the
Uh,
thousands in?
How about just courthouse landscaping line item, something along those, just so our intent is clear that it's to come from the money that has already been allocated towards this project.
There you go.
Yeah.
$100, motion to spend $100 out of the funds already appropriated for this project. How about that?
That sounds wonderful.
And I'll second that motion.
All right.
Great.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anything else, Charles, on
No.
this one?
Thank
Okay.
you for your approval.
Thank you. Here we go.
Go ahead. Or,
There we are. Okay. I believe everybody was an aye. 7, discussion possible action to discuss indoor air quality accommodation, report, and repair to county-owned facility occupied by OSU Extension. Good morning again, sir.
Hey there. I can't remember if I attached that
There's nothing
report
attached,
to this.
no, sir.
I'm sorry I didn't bring it with me, but there does exist a report that LaDonna has in her possession. I know I sent that to HR. I guess we had a sprinkler leak out there, flooded, dampened part of the flooring, continued drywall, mold growing,
Oh.
that kind of thing. And I believe LaDonna has an estimate to remediate and repair,
So,
but just,
a couple of questions. Something you said kind of piqued my interest. You said we had a sprinkler leak. Is that right?
I believe
Was
that's
that
the
what you
case.
said?
Yeah.
And you said it continued. What time frame did a sprinkler leak continue for?
I don't know, but it had to be weeks.
So that begs the question, what does our lease say with regard to that type of activity? And OSU's responsibility there to either A, fix it, shut the water off, notify us in a timely fashion, et cetera.
I'll have to review the lease, and if it does not include anything to that effect, we should have something there that helps us. Typically, a renter's insurance policy or something outlining their responsibility, certainly, to maintain, keep watch, and alert us when we have problems.
This is your only copy, right? Okay.
And this air quality
you go.
report, is that something that we've done through our health and safety?
No,
It's something that-
LaDonna has moved forward on that. That's something that she has requested, and I simply forwarded that to Dan and Don Gust.
What is the status of the sprinkler today?
I think that has been repaired. She said she spent some sum of money already on the repair, and so to the best of my knowledge, it is not leaking at this time.
That's correct. My knowledge, I believe it to be fixed as well.
Well,
We don't do regular inspections of the property. We'll be made aware, such as in this case, I think a telephone call was made to Dale Fry.
perhaps after some time frame where the leak continued. We're not
That would be
certain,
my guess.
but given what Stacy had said.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I mean, my opinion is that we're not in a position to move forward on anything at this point until we get some questions answered. A, how long did it occur? Were they aware that it was occurring, and the time frame in which they notified us?
I don't think they were aware. It's kind of in a storeroom, they don't go in, and when they became aware, that's when they did make the call.
Where do these doors, in photo one, where do they open up to? Are they on the east side, west side, north side, south side of the building?
North or the
Oh,
east?
sorry, I forget that this is the only one. My
Yeah.
bad, go ahead.
It says northeast mechanical room.
Okay, so it's on the
So they're
northeast
north or
side.
east,
So they're not
yeah.
walking by it on a regular basis.
I'd be on the north side, I assume.
Well, it would be seen from the road if it's,
Well, that would be the
Anything
next
subterranean.
question. I'm assuming that that's coming down, that's a slanted sidewalk in there with some sort of grade, so it's probably showing wet on that. And then they mow,
They've got their gardens out there, though, on the north side.
yeah? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to figure out what the likelihood of them actually seeing it is, just to be clear.
I think that's a question that we need to try to ascertain an answer to.
Yeah.
well, I think as
Agreed.
the building ages, certainly what needs to happen is a checklist put in place and regular rounds and routine inspections should be made, much like we do here and other properties.
What,
For them to self-inspect.
Someone,
Yeah, yeah. And you're going to put that together for them, I assume?
I can help them.
Yeah. And what are they requesting anything from us at this point?
No, it's just making
That's
us
fine.
aware of what's happened, what the costs are.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
my understanding is they're not comfortable cleaning it themselves. They would like us to clean it. They do have an estimate from this company that did the report for like $3,300 that company will do it. Or if we want to do it,
And the mold in the room, is that what it's addressing?
I believe so.
$3,300?
that's the estimate I've got here in front of me.
So sprinkler system's working, correct?
Yes.
To my knowledge, yes.
There's not any fire suppression issues.
It's not fire suppression, it is lawn sprinkler. Is that right?
I think it was fire suppression.
Really? I didn't
Was
understand
inside the
that.
building.
I must have misunderstood.
I had understood fire suppression, so
Let me see.
I'll see if I can bring up the email.
how long ago was that building built? I mean, I know you worked on that pretty intensely. Does 6 years sound good?
The funds came out of the sale of
That's all.
the other property. Gretchen, you remember about what year that was? You helped a lot on just 2000. Yeah. What about you there?
What
Kinda
about you there?
When that building was built?
I'd say probably 15.
Fifth year, Lewis or eighth year.
Fifth year, 12, 13.
Okay,
So I think the answer is we don't.
12 to 15.
Yeah.
It wasn't, it was after.
Yeah, there's that 12 to 15 reads again.
It was, did you say that? It wasn't early.
I'm just not finding it.
I don't even think it was in 13. I think it was in
So-
14 or 15. because I had been here at least a year.
Let me ask you guys this. Is there any indication that there's water damage or mold growth on the interior? This appears to be an exterior closets. If I'm looking at these pictures correctly, it appears that these closets would have drained to the outside. So do we have any indication that interior occupied spaces are
I
impacted?
think that's
at
what's
this
being
point?
suggested here. Why don't I do this? Why don't I go out and look myself and find exactly what took place so I can come back and be better prepared to answer questions?
If you wouldn't mind to do that, as well as look at the contract,
Yeah.
and
Let me add one more thing to you. If it's the fire suppression system and this building's only about 5 years old and something happened, is there a warranty or anything?
The bigger concern here is if we have a fire suppression leak.
Right.
That should have alerted a notification system, which would have made us aware
That's
early.
Sort of what I was thinking,
So
because
again-
those are based on pressure. And if we have a
Yeah.
drop in pressure, we should have some sort of alarm that goes off.
Right. Let me go out and have a look at this.
and then, Keith,
And can you make certain that Trumbo goes to?
Motion to make Trumbo go
and
to.
then, it appears that they're using these as storage for something. If you'll make sure that whatever they're storing there is appropriate to be stored in that location.
We order him to go?
From my phone conversation with LaDonna, she does have some employees that sit somewhat close to this area that she's concerned about. So I'd hate, put this off for 2 weeks before we even decide to clean it up or have her clean it up or. That's what my understanding was from the phone call.
We can move quickly. As soon as we see what's taking place, we can go to OMES.
Yeah, there's-
and there's no reason for
Well-
delay here.
Cleaning it up can be a matter of going out, removing the sheetrock and any associated insulation, a little bleach on the floor, and,
Again, we're guessing here until we have more facts.
well, right, we are guessing, but, I mean, it's,
Well,
Give-
you can,
you want to give the three of us hammers, and we can probably go do the demo, and
I think Joe just volunteered.
Yeah. No,
Himself.
we're not doing that.
I
You guys aren't doing
I
any
find
painting
that
or
that
woodworking.
typically spurs Mr. Monroe to quick action.
Yeah, to really screw stuff up.
Okay.
Keith,
Give
thanks
us-
for
give us
jumping
a-
on
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
I appreciate it.
We'll do something here.
Okay.
If we need to do something quick, just let us know.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Motion to receive report.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anything else on this item? Okay. Item 8, discussion and possible action to discuss ionization cleaning systems for air handling units in public buildings. Mr. Monroe.
This is a type of air cleaning system that is being used in a number of places. Prior to the COVID experience, these are units that are installed in the air handling systems themselves ahead of cooling and heating coils, and they clean the air. They disinfect. These things can be installed at a cost between $5,000 and $6,000 per system, and I've included the cut sheet. I believe I got that to you here.
Okay. Keith, is this, what you're talking about, similar to what was just mentioned recently that the University of Oklahoma is going to do for their dormitories?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the very thing.
And I don't know how many units they're anticipating installing, but the news report at least, and I'm assuming the Board of Regents approved it, somebody here might know, but it was $2.3 million, and the thing to note was that they believed they could get all of those installed prior to the beginning of the fall semester. So as you're researching this, what is the likelihood that we could, A, get the product within, prior to December the 30th and installed prior to that date as well?
I've had conversations with several contractors. The equipment is available, and I think we could meet that deadline easily with most of the units that we have serving public buildings.
And obviously, we have buildings that are owned by the county and then those that are owned by the PBA.
Mhm.
So are you working to identify potentially the total cost to both of those entities?
Yes.
Okay.
Would this cause,
And we should have some economy of scale here, too, so.
would we start having to retrofit our current systems? I mean, by adding these individual items, are we going to create a bigger issue on some of our buildings,
In what respect?
such as the jail? If we start installing these at the jail, are we going to need to start doing reducting or?
No,
Anything
these
like that?
actually live in the existing ductwork. They're installed in the existing ductwork. And it's UV lighting is what it is.
Yeah.
Depending on the size, the length, and height of the chilled water coil or steam coil, that will drive price and the installation costs as well. But generally speaking, they're installed within the duct system already used. So it may be in some extreme cases, you might have to modify ductwork, but that's not my understanding as to how these things are to be installed.
How many air handling units are in the annex?
We have 1, 2. There are about 10.
Okay, thanks.
There may be more than that when we continue or count the Liebert units that serve the MIS server room. Also, we have some separate little air handling units I know that serve MIS specifically. We have some in our offices. So, 10, a dozen or so of varying sizes and capacity.
Thanks. Okay.
Well, I think what would be appropriate would be for Keith to continue to gather the necessary information, whether this is something that is available, state contract, do we have to go out to bid on this, how quick that happens?
I was going to say, we'll work with Chantel.
And then the other thing I think that would be appropriate is BET is working on their new projects for potential federal dollars. And so when we can get a ballpark estimate, it doesn't have to be perfect, but when we can get a ballpark estimate, get that information to Cody and the BET, so that we can look at the potential use of the COVID funds, which this would seem to qualify for.
I think we'll start getting quotes and, like I
And-
say, work with Chantel on those, on a
I believe the
Specific.
use of those funds ultimately is if it's reasonably necessary in the determination of the governing body, so. You guys disagree with any of that?
Nope.
Okay. All right, is there a motion to receive Keith's update?
Also move.
Second.
Miles seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 9, discussion of view and possible action regarding an update on capital projects specific to the TIF 2, and that would be the annex roof replacement, security enhancements, and the courthouse 9th floor.
Just a few days left on the roof. Keith, what about the 9th floor?
We're making progress. We received a shipment of doors and frames that are being installed. We're,
This morning.
yeah. So,
Okay,
working along.
all right.
Motion to receive report.
Second.
Stacy, do we need to leave this item open pending the executive session, come back to it?
Maybe.
Potentially?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. All right, you guys mind to withdraw those?
Well, you can still receive.
So we can do it and reopen it? Yeah,
Either
that's
way.
fine. Okay. So there's a motion to go ahead and receive a portion of the report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 10, discussion, review, and possible action regarding the capital improvements list.
No changes.
Okay, no action necessary unless you have questions. 11, discussion, review, and possible action regarding TIP 2 and TIP 8 budgets.
No changes.
Okay, no action, I guess. 12, discussion, review, and possible action regarding ongoing spatialization plan for the county annex.
Making progress on DA Civil on the 5th floor. The woodwork is complete. Doors are installed. Now comes the point in time where we have to begin the stain work. It's going to stink. There will be people complain. We'll try and do this in the evenings and on weekends. We'll remove windows, use fans and exhaust systems, but there will still be residual smells that will nauseate people.
Have you notified everybody within a smelling distance?
Not yet, but I
Okay.
will. You know, and that's expected to begin this week sometime.
This week? Okay.
You might try to do a everyone type email, just letting people know what it is and what's going on.
Sure. Also, it's time to probably begin thinking about 6th floor and any kind of reconfiguration that you might find suitable.
If, we can go up there at any time, is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. If, at least for us, Stacy, if you or Keith, one will deliver to us a floor plan of the 6th floor office area occupied by District 1, or perhaps from.
Bob
let's just-
Bravitz hasn't already done that.
Anyway, if, perhaps from the elevators east, showing both the north and the south sides, that area that's occupied by Bob as well as us, we'll begin to look at that. Miles, do you need a floor plan?
Hold on, sorry. Dealing with some drama.
Huh?
Dealing with drama. A floor plan would be nice.
All right, if you'll get
Wife drama.
one for.
Home drama.
Get one for.
Thank you.
For Miles as well then. Okay. All right. Anything else that you're needing from us on the 6th floor? What is the, because it relates to us potentially reoccupying that space, what's the time frame on the fireproofing?
I believe the budget board approved some monies last week for a little change order on that specific item. I think the BOCC will approve that this Wednesday or next Wednesday, and then the contractor is anticipated to go to work first of next month. And then I don't remember how long it's going to take him to fireproof.
That's what I was kind of curious.
Keith, do you?
The budget board item last week was addressing the roof decking and the rust issues and that repair work.
Which is part of the fireproofing.
No, but it has to be done. The fireproofing comes after. You're talking about the chemical bonding agent that they use between the rusted deck and the fireproofing that will be applied. I'd say 2 months at the outside on the fireproofing.
So 2 months, and then whatever design configurations are requested up on 6.
Should be made at that time.
Okay.
So at the time we take the plastic down, after the fireproofing has been installed, at that time we'll remove the plastic, find out what kind of residual damage we have to address with walls, carpeting, flooring, woodwork, those kinds of things. That's the time, if any changes or reconfiguration is to be made, that's the time to do it.
And what is our contractor situation looking like? Is it still tight, or have we seen some contractors that have been freed up due to the current economic situation?
It's still tight. There are a lot of government contracts in place. Tinker, I know, is soaking up a lot of the contractors that are good, that we use or share with them. So
Okay.
it's not a buyer's market yet.
And then knowing that they're potentially unforeseens, is there anything that once the fireproofing's done and we've begun to get some plans up there that would prevent a sequential build out where people could potentially occupy while construction is still ongoing in other parts of the floor.
I think that can take place. The only other problem I could foresee is if, once the plastic is down, we have damage done to any of the HVAC air handling units above the ceiling or the VAV units that have been installed. I know we've had some issues there throughout the duration of this project, where we've had leaks and people running equipment into them and so on. We'll have to look at that carefully.
Okay.
That's
All right.
the only other thing that I foresee being a problem.
All right, well, if you'll get Miles and me those drawings, then we can take a look and go back up there as well. All right,
Make a motion to receive the report.
there's a motion to receive.
Aye.
All right. 13, discussion, review, and possible action regarding degradation of East Oklahoma County Turnpike to include but not limited to the frontage roads. Stace?
Working with the two superintendents, District 1, District 2, they both selected Peebly Road as the highest priority to get started on a project now that the agreement's in place. So the turnpike is almost finished north of Britton Road. They're still working south of Britton Road. So if I started Peebly at Britton and ran it north, it'd be 5 miles. It'd be 3 miles through District 2 and 2 miles through District 1. A project of that magnitude would probably be, engineer's estimate, around $3 million. And the turnpike is funding $1.8 million. So there'll be probably some extra to pay. I won't know how much till we actually receive bids, but I'm doing plans right now as we speak for that 5 miles. We can tweak that, whatever your pleasure is, but.
What- You said you're doing bids.
Yeah, they will have to go out to bid for.
Why can't we do that work in-house?
That's another possibility. If the superintendents, they didn't indicate to me that they were planning that.
Did
but-
you ask them?
No, I really didn't. I think they intend to do some of the patching work, some of the overlay work, but I don't think they intended to do this full depth section. They are capable, certainly. That's a discussion, we can have between the superintendents and you guys. That would save, stretch the money further,
Can you
obviously.
Where were you thinking about, which section of Peebly? North of Britton
Yeah,
to,
about 164th Street is what the superintendent identified as, in total disrepair that needs full depth
and what about
reconstruction.
the southern part of Peebly?
There
From
could be.
about 29th.
There could be
to
damage
40.
down there as well, but they're still damaging it, so,
Are they?
yeah, yes.
Okay.
This is a good place to start. I agree with the superintendent, this is a good place to start. Now, how we actually build it, we've got options, obviously, but I'm doing plans either way. I'm doing them right now.
Have you been out yourself recently on this 5 miles? Or you just been visiting with
I've
our-
been on Luther Road recently, but not Peebly. So I do need to go drive it so we can finish the plans up. I can specifically need to look at drainage and see how it's working. Kind of have that on my short list of things to do. The Turnpike did want to see the plans, no matter how we do it, so I'm going to go ahead and finish the plans.
And these are complete tear down.
That's my understanding, is this is a full depth replacement.
So we have the option that we could build it ourselves and potentially stretch the dollars you mentioned. I don't know that, what are we, 30 days on a bid opening?
Yeah, but the time we advertise it to open, it's good estimate.
I mean, in the past, we've put larger scales projects out to look, just to see if we could get some decent bids. I certainly think it would be maybe something we should consider doing here. I don't know where you're at, Charles, District 2 is in terms of their current road building, but we're pretty busy right now. We've got some major projects coming up ourselves, but at the end of the day, when we only have $1.8 million, what we can do to stretch that. So,
Is this one of those things that we can run parallel tracks on? I mean, and I don't know what
kind of
either
what
one of
I'm
your
thinking.
road crews are really doing, but I'm thinking like a tear down. But as we put this out to bid, the bid needs to show that we are or could be working on these projects and their scope of work could be reduced. Is that sort of what you're trying to, or what you were saying, or?
no, I was just saying, as, when we get the plans ready, our OTA's got to approve them. So as we're awaiting that approval process, which would be pretty quick, go ahead and put these out to bid and see what kind of response we get on a 5-mile stretch of road. And if it's astronomical, then reassess whether or not we want to do it ourselves. But nothing has to be decided today.
Yeah.
I certainly think Stace touching base, at least with Bill and Brian, about the interest in taking this on ourselves.
I mean, I'm with Joe. I think as much as we can do ourselves as possible to save and stretch out those dollars, I mean, tear down and reclamation is fairly simple and a little bit quicker part of the project. And I don't know how District 2 has their crews anymore, or how District 1 has theirs, but usually, like we're separate crews for each function. So if they have those ability to work in those projects and on tear down and rebuild at the base, then that could save some pretty good money. And then we're just doing what we normally do, and, well, doing what District 2 used to normally do, and that's just contracting the laying of the asphalt.
Yeah, so we can do everything,
So,
start to finish.
All right, well, I'll finish the plans, get the superintendents in for a meeting, see what they want to do.
Okay, all right. Stace, I appreciate y'all's quick work on getting those plans going. All right, motion to receive the update by me.
second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
14, discussion, review, and possible action regarding XXX stream bank stabilization. We heard from the Corps?
Yeah, well, they continue.
FEMA. I
Yeah,
guess. Said
FEMA
that
continues to work through their process, a lot longer than I thought it would be. I've got an email right now that I need to put a notice in the newspaper this week. And I'll get that done. I'm trying to remember what the notice is for, but just another piece of the process.
Okay, anything else? Charles, you have anything?
No.
Okay, is there a motion to receive that?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 15, discussion, review, and possible action regarding mold remediation, HVAC system repair, and a maintenance staffing plan at the county jail.
We got a new one.
The blower assembly will be completed this week, and they're on track to have that up and running. So we'll have one completed system that will be used as our
Test bed.
Okay, all right. Anything else?
Your other project, have you contemplated the same at the jail? Your ionization project?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure.
No, I think if you do this for every county and PBA property.
Agreed.
And the cut sheet does specifically list tuberculosis as an item that is addressed.
Yeah, there's a number of advantages to this type of system, I think.
Yeah,
from
that's right.
Looking at it.
But it's important to have the air moving, correct? For this?
Well, all of the component pieces and parts need to be operable for this type of cleaning to work.
Perfect. Thank you. Motion to receive.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 16, discussion, review, and possible action regarding Wilshire Boulevard.
Quit
And
laughing.
he's
The
waiting.
the engineer reached out and wanted to know if they could go ahead and do the final report to us, because they know you've selected the option 3 as your favorable option. We know we haven't been able to reach out to the landowners yet, but are you interested in them doing the final report, or you want to hold off?
The final report will include all 3 of those options, correct?
Yeah.
I don't know why we couldn't put it in a final form and have it for when we get word back on the property issue. Brian's reached out to him, so it's just a matter of,
Okay, I'll go ahead and tell them to finalize that.
all right, motion to receive.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item 17 is to enter into executive session to discuss an assessment of vulnerability of the Oklahoma County downtown complex to acts of terrorism and a plan for deterrence or prevention and protection of such act. Is there a motion to recess into executive session?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are in executive session. Mons, can we use your office?
What? Oh, I'm like, what?
You could use this room if you just put everybody out and turn off the video. Well, it's just the distance, it's not very much. No, I don't want to. I'm the only one that would leave. What they're per day.
$6,000 per air handling unit? Yes. Okay. And this, it would be one product per unit? Yes. So tell me, if we went to bid for this. What are they talking about? We're talking about the furniture, security, we're talking about the window film, we're talking about all that stuff that you should probably be in there and talk about. I don't know why you're not involved in it. But anyways, I don't know what to decide. So, here's a question, $5,000 to $6,000 a unit, we went out to bid for that, you're only going to go out to bid for the units readily available, not the units that are not operating, that's the right word.
I dread coming down.
No, you don't.
What's that face,
You
don't
love
look at
coming down
Valerie
here.
that way.
No, when I get the roll of the eyes.
The eye roll.
Yeah.
What are you doing there? What do you want? What are you doing?
Well, he responded to my email, so it's for those of you who didn't respond at all about the GIS near map meeting, and I should do. I assume, I assume he's not coming, he's way too building going out and figuring about irrigation slash sprinkle systems
You
slash.
don't have anything to do with watch meetings, do you? I saw Chase yesterday.
It was a good weekend to ride. My son got new boots.
He
He's
did?
so stinking excited. He got 12 quad E's or double E. Oh, he's huge foot. I quit buying cowboy boots because we have horses, but I could not afford to keep him in them. So I think he's You got smooth, ostrich. He doesn't like full quill. Anyway, not that I would bought it, but there's some big, soft ostriches and they're Ariots. So they are just like, oh, these are crazy. I know. But putting him on, he's like 6'2" now. You know, we ran by the reining derby.
Oh, well, I saw little sister Sarah
Okay.
last week. She's playing the women's tournament.
Is she gonna?
This next
She'll be
week.
great at it. Where's that tournament?
Tulsa.
I wanna watch her. She's aggressive and she's such a good rider.
You need to go up there.
I know. I got baseball in such a good shape, wrong direction.
They've got
Chris, I look forward to seeing you Thursday.
Good.
Go ahead.
Huge party Friday, play on Saturday, finals on Sunday.
Okay. Well, it's just wait till she's here and baseball's over.
Uh,
So.
I am good. What's going on?
So in Chase, were we all riding?
I went over to pick up some mallets,
Oh.
drop some mallets off. He's got a guy that works for him that does repair work.
Okay. Okay.
Fernando.
Of course.
I think he sold a horse to one of the girls that play out there.
Oh, good. All right. Chantel, do you know anything about horses, or we just like boring you?
No, I love learning about horses, but I've never had any company. My grandparents. We do, there's nothing recreational, just a fun.
Far recreation.
I don't know anything about horses.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, as I said, buying Joey boots, and they're double stitched, but they're crepes, so they're quite a bit, you know, this will mean putting them on, like, you're 16 now, this is not okay.
It's a big boy.
Cause he's over 6 foot, and he just turned 15 like 2 weeks ago, so, yeah, we're not done.
So he's riding?
No, well, that's the funny thing is,
Why
I
did he
don't-
ride in ostrich boots?
he wanted boots, cause there's things at school they wear boots for, and I was just as happy. And I was dying all the other skins down at the horse show, from elephant to water buffalo, all that stuff. They were still 5-something, so we ran by Boot Barn, I had to shop keep on. So anyhow, but they're comfortable, is what I'm saying. Cause their yachts are comfortable anyway, and then you add ostrich, it's so soft. No, it's not gonna be a great work boot, but what is there is no way he could saddle a horse and put a horse up. I can put him on, but he just doesn't do it enough, you know, he didn't know exactly enough, so.
Well, I sort of treated myself. There's a guy that, a custom maker in Tulsa that I bought from.
Your boots, but your riding boots, or do you mean your western boots?
Both. So he made these,
Okay.
and then he made a pair of alligator polo boots.
Yeah, Chantel, I asked Keith how much they were, he wouldn't tell me which his polo boots were. I had, yeah.
Well, and there's probably a lot of safety features involved. So it'd probably be
No, they're not,
expensive.
no, it's
They're
just,
not?
no.
They're bougie.
They're bougie.
Well, so it's just for looks? I
Well,
guess.
they're a great boot, I'm sure.
They serve purposes.
Yeah, but they're still, and that's what my son goes, Mom, why would a pair of boots be $2,000? And I said, well, you're gonna get your exotic skins, but I go, handcrafted, there's a hand making boot guy in the stockyards, there's a guy in Guthrie, if the guy in Guthrie's still there, I don't know about the Tulsa guy.
The
Oh,
woman
sure.
in Guthrie, a woman up there,
But I've been to the shop, I went for something years and years ago, so I didn't know if they were
and
still
she
there.
does pretty good work.
But yeah, I'll never have a handmade boots. Oh, wow, those are cool. Alright. Dang, when'd you get those? Those aren't even the ones you've already shown me.
I wore them once.
They're beautiful, dang. Yeah.
Sarah, somebody took a picture.
You have one.
Sarah remarked, said something.
Tell Sarah, you know what she spends on shoes, cause I know what she spends on shoes.
Yeah, she's
Go
a
ahead,
shoe-
yeah, go ahead and respond back and go, remember our friends with Valerie, and I know what you spend on shoes, Sarah. So-
She shows, tell you what she does.
Mhm.
She goes over there, there's a girl, one chucker
Okay, there's a girl where though, or who those?
in Paseo.
That's how, I work for that girl, that's,
Okay,
yeah,
that's where she goes
Oh, those are cool. Where were you at this one?
That was in
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you saved those for your Palm Spring, Palm Desert tournaments. Where you gotta keep up with the Joneses. Okay, so they come down, how long do they normally stay?
What are you here to talk about? Are you here to talk about is killing time?
No, I have the commitment binding, I have to have girls coming. And I might have to make sure that everybody understands what they're coming to, because I am not the one who put it on the agenda. And the way you read it, it first reads that you have to be at a budget board, but you don't have to be at it, it's not a requirement. So the RSVP is yes, I've received, make sure they understand, it's not required. So, it's but it's the GIS, near map system.
Oh, GIS.
GIS, I don't know what it means, but near map's the company that suggests. It has by far more capabilities than what you can see on the assessor website. I mean, you think you can see a lot, but.
Why do we need to know about that?
Because if everybody wanted to be a part of it, then everybody could have the deeper access Mike and them have. But he was telling me it can look at like the top of your buildings, and it can measure down to the smallest, if you're trying to figure
You can
something.
do that now, can't you?
I don't think I'll have all the access. I talked to the guy, Mike wanted to do it, so I talked to the representative that's gonna be coming. And that's where I put the slogan in my email. If you would have read it, should I tell them, make you crazy if people don't read your emails? Tell people. I put, his words were, there is more, than you currently see. You think you're seeing a lot, it can do so much more, he said. And Mike was telling me that it can, for the commissioners, it can read, the depths of the
Elevation?
ditches, yeah, but the ditches like a ravine, things like that, it can
Yeah.
tell him, you can go on and it can measure it, you would not even have to go out there.
Right, because a lot of times the district yards have to go out there and they measure when the roads do this.
Mm-hmm.
So that way when they drainage projects, they have to realize that you can't just have the ditches go like this too.
Yeah, yes, so, yes,
Yeah.
so that's what
So
they're.
contour.
Contour, there you go.
There's a lot of cool features. This is with Esri, ESRI. Are they going to be present for this meeting?
It's near map, so I know Esri's the place in California that developed it, all these, I get a little confused.
There's a lot of people.
But near map, who was, we already have, is coming, and to show and answer questions, so, because he just said there's more to it, everybody thinks they're seeing it by getting on the assessors, and there's more. I don't even have, like, if I get on the access that Mike and them have, there's more to it, but I don't think.
That's their job, though. They need access
Exactly.
to all that.
But-
Does the public need that?
No, they're talking about you, they're talking about the commissioners.
Right.
How you all can see roofs and not have to go up there and measure or do, there's just things that you can do with them, so. It's just seeing for everybody. What do I say, why it would benefit the sheriff's department? What they would be able, I don't know, he said there's everybody, so all I'm doing is doing what I do, which is organize and make sure I have the right count and all that. So.
Party planner, and that's what you.
Extraordinaire.
Well.
We're in baseball season, so Joey's got baseball this weekend. Then isn't it 4th of July? Yeah, weekend after it's 4th of July. And,
Then comes Labor
No.
Day.
no, we go, I'm letting him go to Montana with his uncle to go see his dad for 4 days.
That's fun.
Hopefully he'll be safe and return and all that.
Get to fly fish.
I'm sure they will. That's why I'm not letting go with his uncle, who will make sure he's not behaves, because his uncle's straight and narrow, so they're flying up. And then I actually, he'll be home 3 days, and we fly back to Kalispell to be with my friends.
Oh, really?
So we're doing that. So
That's fun.
we're out there.
Not a long time.
I went to a hunter jumper show one time when we were up there, because my friends have homes up there, all horse people. And I sat there and watched the show, and it was a pretty good caliber. It was a beautiful, it's not stadium jumping, it was beautiful and good caliber. But I sat there and thought, where do these people all haul from? There is no way easy was surprised that I didn't even feel. And the,
So Sarah was telling me that you were with the AQHA.
when I was a coach, that's what it wrote, Michelle.
Oh, no.
Didn't work for
I
him.
thought, oh,
Nope. We had an insurance agency, I mean, so I was, that's why I was always at the conventions and everything.
I see.
I was involved, I was committee, I mean, I did things, I was, and I was on committee for Red Bud and Horse Show, so I was involved. Until I realized how much time a child takes. Sheesh. So, it was, and so it was in season, we went by the Derby. And we went by Red Bud 2 weeks prior. I could not. I didn't tell you that either. Oh, I remember that. Dang. The triangle cell that we were in there to?
Yes.
My friend from New Orleans, whom I haven't spoken to in several years, goes, sends me a text, can you go pick up a horse? And I'm like, he and she goes, okay, I'm gonna bid on it. And I'm like, okay, and I didn't know triangle cell was happening.
This was January?
It just happened a couple weeks ago,
Oh.
3 weeks ago. And
Thanks for reminding me.
I didn't know till I get this text, that's my point. I've got to bring you a picture and she's gonna die. So, and Rick Warren had been in my office and talking about a project he had done down in New Orleans, so I said, oh, do you know who our head constructionist? He said, yes, and I said, well, that's my friends, first they should ask me. And, you know, she goes, if I get this horse, you know, I know, yeah, I go get it, take some moms, and we'll figure out, you know, she'll get her hauler. So anyway, and she goes, well, it's hit number, blah, 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 it's a pony. She sends me back, and these are some of my favorite. People in New Orleans are very New Yorkish. Have you ever been around? They sound New Yorkish. They own a massive construction, demolition construction company. So, not New York, she goes, I'm crazy, but I'm not that kind of crazy. And she really is. There's that pony for $30,000, a blue roan. $30,000. She was like, so I found her a pony person in Texas that was always finding them. I can't even, I was like, that's insane. It was for her dog. No, it wasn't even a jumper. And the people that were selling it, because everything there is very Western. No, they showed a little boy and it's looking like he's roping on it. There was nothing stupid. But it was for her dog. He was like 4. So I said I put her in touch with somebody else. Yeah. He was beautiful. I mean, blue roan. I had not seen a blue roan pony, and it was tall. He was all under 14. He wasn't POA type, but.
Well, those things, they bring money.
And my point was, is that I mean, things were still selling. And I heard you just say, I was listening late for the meeting, and you go, not yet. It's a seller's market. It is not even close to buyer's market. It is crazy what's going on. I tried to buy one this weekend. I mean, it had the 1980 fixtures in it. There was not any updates, and it went 10,000 over asking. I mean, it sold in one day over. I was like, okay, I can't do this.
Several years ago, his wife works for a builder. She said 15, 20, 30 houses every month. There's all within the price range, about 100 to 200.
Okay, so not appraiser, an inspector I know told me that Nevin, he said this still, he does a couple of the high-end realtors, and he told me how many, this is a guy who used to be an engineer in his second phase life, like, I'm gonna start home inspection.
You know you're on the air.
No, that's okay, thank you. But he was just, he was amazed how the higher-end horses are everything's still selling out. It's, you know, so much for, like I said, a buyer, Chantel, did you try to buy or not, or, because our head appraisal guy, Steve, he's like, I've never seen anything like this.
Well, I know that I've heard multiple stories, even yesterday. My grandpa was in Tulsa, and he has some land, and the real estate agent knows that his wife just passed. He's alone, he's been there for a year, and she has buyers lined up for his house already, so she called him.
my hope is that it, when it's school, because there's people in panic, and yes, we need a bigger house. It's miserable without a small room. But I don't need it so desperate that I have to do it before school starts. And I think that's what I'm kind of hoping is, all right, just be smart, just stop, and I'll start again. And it's, this is hard. I share a bathroom with 50 year olds. It's not good.
Or a red spot.
I have animals. A 90-pound lab mix, a cat. We gave the snake back. Right, because that's so like who I am. You're not full of helpful good ideas. I know, but anyway, it's just nuts. So, can you read from it? I mean, everyone's and I haven't used one, I just been looking. And I've been trying to catch some for some of my members. They're just, it's a very weird time, for sure, so. How many things were on for executive session?
I showed you little Sarah on my horse there.
Well, that was, is she taking, yeah, she taking the school on her horse? What horse is she using in the tournament?
Little, she's taken 3. She's taken
3 of yours? Oh.
So I think she's gonna have her mom, she's gonna have her mom trade it up.
How
I'll
fun.
show you this.
Let me see, is she on different ones?
No, on the back.
Yes. Do you have kids? Okay, this is the cutest, hottest little girl ever. It has no kids. Great job. Yeah, so she has time to run all over and go play polo and do these things. Well, very good. She's about this big. She's awesome though. She's awesome, but yeah, it's our mutual friend. And like she's, but that's nice. She gets used to these horses.
We know her dad used to play.
No. Her mom used to jump, I know that, but.
Her dad used to play with Mom or her dad.
No, I did not know that.
I showed you that last week, I thought that.
Was she on the bay? I guess. So where'd she show me the other ones? And I'll take
That
it.
was it.
That's
all.
it, okay. Yeah, you gotta
She's
then
taken-
to look good in white riding pants. Polo people undersized.
She's a funny kid.
Mhm.
Skinny.
It's such a, how's your son doing? It's such a shame you couldn't get them together.
I know. He's hanging out, he's in New York.
That's what I was gonna ask, well, how is that for him? How's he been with all this?
He's working from home.
Has he got to lose his mind?
No, he goes out and go on runs and shop and release and food. Get a girlfriend.
He did, okay. My friends whose daughters about the same age, they brought her home from New York, and she has a great job. They let her stay in food, but she got paid. She it's expensive there, gotta help supplement some. And so, you know, I started paying for her. Yeah, and I was like.
I asked, I said, you know, we bring it home to you. He said, you know, we quarantine both places. And my daughter's on the West Coast, so she was quarantining.
Exactly.
Is there a motion to return to open session?
Also move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item 18 is action regarding the assessment of vulnerability of the Oklahoma County downtown complex to acts of terrorism. Is there a motion related to item 18?
Motion to proceed as discussed in executive session.
I'll second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, citizens' participation. Is there anyone wishing to address the committee? Board comments? Charles?
None.
Miles?
No, thank you.
None from me. New business. Is there any new business for the committee?
Got some new business. Christie out at Social Services called late Friday, and apparently the wind that had come through the week before had torn up a section of the roof on the east side. There's, I'm certain, some water damage to the interior of the building. We called Oklahoma Roofing out late in the day. They came in, did a temporary repair job.
So. Wow.
And that roofing system is an EDPM. It's a rubber roof that is beyond its life expectancy. We need to look at replacing that roof out there as well. I walked across the roof and hole, and seams are giving up. They have roof leaks every time it rains. This is one the BET probably needs to address.
That was,
I don't have pricing yet or any kind of a rough number. We'll work on that. But-
currently it's sealed though, right?
I'm sorry?
The roof is currently sealed?
In that location.
Yes.
There are numerous other areas where seams are leaking.
Okay.
So, anyway, that was Friday late.
And the reason you're bringing that to us is we couldn't meet the posting requirements for the agenda to be able to discuss this. So
That's
that's why
right.
it's qualifying under new business.
That-
Are you
that's-
needing anything from us, or are you just wanting to make us aware and provide us with those photographs?
That's it. Just make you aware and know that we're working on pricing and a solution.
Okay, we appreciate your quick response to that situation. Let's go ahead and do a motion just to have, for the record, those photographs.
So move.
In a second?
Steve?
Yeah, to receive. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Anything else under new business? Okay, can we get a motion to adjourn, please?
Also
So moved.
second. Aye.
Aye. Okay. Give the clerks a moment. Are we going to use the machines?
No.
Perfect. I'm in.
It's giving me an error. There we go. We're good to go. All right. I'd like to call the meeting of the Public Buildings Advisory Committee to order. Notice the meeting was properly posted Friday, June 19th. Item 1 we'll dispense with since all 3 districts are present in the meeting room. Item 2 is approval of the minutes.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 3, discussion of possible action to recommend to the Public Buildings Authority that the property currently known as the Kraus Building located at Northeast 36th and Kelly Avenue in Oklahoma City be named the Willa D. Johnson Public Safety Center or Willa D. Johnson Public Safety Complex to honor the outstanding public service of former Commissioner Willa D. Johnson. Under this proposal, the Kraus Building would retain its name. So I think I had mentioned previously that we had received an email from former Commissioner Ray Vaughn suggesting that the county rename this facility in honor of Commissioner Johnson. It was Willa, Miles was here, but Charles, for you, it was Willa that approached the city about getting this vacant building donated to the county, and that was able to occur. So we thought it would be a good idea to follow up on Commissioner Vaughn's request. We thought it was a highly appropriate thing to do to honor Willa for what she's done, not only for the county, but for the city as well. So I put this item on for us to have a discussion and hopefully make a recommendation.
I wholeheartedly agree that she needs to be honored. My fear is honoring something that may not be permanent. Should PBA either consider the sale of the place or the building to the Infantry Museum and the military, or should we do something else with it in the future? The city ask for that to come back, whatever. I would like to do something certainly more permanent in nature, because while I never worked for the woman definitely deserves accolades for many of the things that she did for not only the county, but the city as well, like you had stated. And, I mean, I half-heartedly, jokingly said, you know, the woman deserves a statue down here on our newly landscaped area. But I think something of that nature is certainly needed for Commissioner Johnson. And that's my concern about the Kraus Center.
Miles, first, I appreciate your comments about Commissioner Johnson. You know, we can go round and round on whether or not this is permanent or not needed, or whether or not we do it and we sell the building. But at this point in time, there's no decision that I'm aware of that's been made to sell this building.
Absolutely.
Our office has at least publicly said we're not interested in selling. You know, somebody makes you a foolish offer, maybe that changes. But much like we're doing to honor the history building, at least with this proposal that we're putting forth in retaining the name of the Kraus Building, my hope would be that the 45th Infantry Museum and the Oklahoma Military Department would recognize the service of Commissioner Johnson as well, and that should we move forward in renaming this in honor of her, that they would do the same due consideration that we're giving the history of the building. So, you know, I'm not wanting to wait. The one thing that we know today is that the building is a PBA property. It's going to remain a PBA property, and that we are making an investment there, not only the Sheriff's Department being there, but our emergency management department being there. So, I'd like to move this forward. And, you know, I don't know if you all have one way or the other. I like public safety complex And so that would be my motion, that we would recommend to the PBA that we rename that property the Willa D. Johnson Public Safety Complex.
So, just to ask a question,
Mhm.
what's this building called?
It's the Kraus Building
Oh,
currently.
this current building that we're sitting in right now?
Oklahoma County Annex Building. Or some people call it the courthouse, or, I
Right.
mean, it's all, yeah.
This building, to me, with her name on the front of it, would probably be much more fitting. I know this building's not going anywhere. It's not a PBA property. I assume it's not going anywhere similar.
Next to the courthouse, Miles, so it's really the courthouse.
That's an interesting. But at any rate, I don't think there would be anything that would keep us from naming even a courthouse after her. But, and statutorily, we have to have those.
Mhm. Well, I don't know that having two buildings named after her wouldn't be appropriate, so.
Is that your motion, Miles?
I can't make that motion in PBA on this building, otherwise I quite possibly would.
So Miles, if you want to name, we can name the Kraus property after her, we can name the courthouse after her, and we can have a statute after her. I think she is that much of a historical figure in the history of Oklahoma City and Oklahoma County. So, I don't know that we can do enough to truly honor her legacy. So, I have a motion. So apparently, someone that we all agree needs to be honored is not going to be honored because we can't get a second. Okay, item 4, discussion, review, and possible action regarding the emergency management space at Northeast 36th and Martin Luther King. I think that's actually Kelly, the Kraus Building.
Yes, an architect has been selected, and they were trying to get with Mr. Barnes for a tour. It's today. There's a tour today with the architect at 3 o'clock, so they can begin to put together their scope and fee proposal.
What do you need from us?
Just an
Okay,
update.
motion to receive the
Receive
update.
report.
I'll second. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item 5, discussion, review, and possible action related to the Investors Capitol Building exterior envelope project.
We had a meeting with the architect. I believe all of the bid documents are prepared. We're ready to go out to bid. Here's Shanta.
The architect is reviewing the bid documents. We had a few minor changes of putting them together, should be back to me, and we have an issue date scheduled for June 30th. We're hoping to open bids July 20th. So that gives you an idea of dates.
Perfect. Motion to receive report.
I'll second.
There's a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 6, discussion, review, and possible action related to the repair or replacement of the roof and the HVAC system at the Election Board ACOG building on Lincoln Boulevard.
The roofing project's going well. They're about half done out there. The HVAC mechanical contractor has 3 units left to replace, and we did receive a proposal for a possible change order regarding the natural gas, the steel natural gas piping that traverses the roof and feeds all of the rooftop heat units. That figure is right at $6,800 or so, $6,880. We'll need to, in my view, make that happen.
Is that within the parameters?
Year 15.
All right. So do you want a motion as a recommendation to PBA to approve that change order?
Change order.
Yes.
That's the motion then.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
7, discussion, review, and possible action, receive an update from the Director of Facility Management on properties or projects under the authority of the PBA.
ICB, we've talked a little about. The lease documents are being prepared for the new fiscal year and being distributed. We've begun to make those available to all the tenants. Metro 1 and 2, we continue to have a parade of homeless after hours and on the weekends, but I believe our sheriff's deputies, again, are doing a good job coming through at various times of day. Kraus, the sheriff, has occupied the first floor, moving in. The paint and repairs, to the extent budgeted, have been made. The locker rooms for evidence are being reconfigured, shelving being installed and reconfigured in that area in the basement.
That's showing they already had though, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Nothing else has
Yeah.
been added. Lincoln, nothing new out there. Except the sheriff's resale did take place last week and has been concluded.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all.
Motion to receive report.
A second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Okay. Citizens' participation? Anyone? Board comments? Charles?
None.
No, thank you.
I think we've said enough today. New business.
Motion to adjourn.
A second. Aye.
All right. David, only 4 minutes late.